Welcome again to Faces of Sterling. I'm Terry Ackerman, your host, the town administrator in Sterling, and each segment we profile guests in the Sterling community who are making a valuable contribution. Today we have folks from the Wachusett Watershed Regional Recycling Center. We have Colleen Abrams, a co-founder of the center. We have John Scannell, a DCR regional director, and we have Charlie Madden, a bike enthusiast and volunteer at the center. Welcome, folks.
Thank you.
So Colleen, you're a co-founder of the center. Give us an overview of the center.
Well, first, it's located at 131 Raymond Huntington Highway in West Boylston, and it's a great central location for the 7 partnership towns: Boylston, Holden, Paxton, Princeton, Rutland, Sterling, and West Boylston. If you live in Sterling, you're coming from there, then you will think of Leg Road as your connection to the center. And it's open every Wednesday, 2:30 to 4:30 p.m., and the third Saturday of every month from 8 to 11 a.m. And the other important thing to tell you is that it's really a partnership of the Department of Conservation and Recreation, the 7 Wachusett towns, and Wachusett Earth Day Incorporated, which is an all-volunteer nonprofit group.
Great. So how did you come about having this idea and make it a reality?
There were several of us who began in 1992. We had a celebration, a party at Trout Brook Reservation with a human-powered ride for children and ponding and outdoor activities. We began with recycling. We lined up all the brown glass, the green glass, and the clear glass at Trout Brook Reservation, and then it poured on top of all the newspaper. It was a fun day. And we just grew steadily into a regional program, and then in 2006 jumped to this incredibly wonderful central location.
So John, tell us how DCR got involved, and how did you go from 2 collections a year to a permanent site?
Okay, so a little background. DCR is the Department of Conservation and Recreation, and specifically the Division of Water Supply Protection. And we manage Wachusett Reservoir and its watershed, which encompasses portions of these 7 towns. So back when Wachusett Earth Day began these twice-a-year collections, and there was a regional team working on it, DCR got asked to be involved. And obviously from DCR, protecting the watershed, making sure, hazardous chemicals and other products are not disposed of improperly in the watershed. It was a reasonable place for us to be involved.
Absolutely.
So we began to get involved in their collections, both some funding early on as well as helping to plan. And the collections rotated amongst several of the towns. And the towns were wonderful. Generally, they happened at DPW yards. And quickly, together we realized that was becoming more difficult. And they settled on a more permanent site at the Mount View Middle School in Holden, and most of the collections twice a year were done there. It became challenging, very busy, lots of users, which was great, but it made for a lot of planning and 2 very busy days twice a year. And there was also difficulty with mostly things like swap items. People can bring good usable items to the center and someone else can take them and at no cost, and so it keeps something from ending up in the waste stream that's still usable. Well, with only 2 days a year, something that didn't disappear at the end of the day had to be disposed of. So that was one of the things that became more challenging. And ultimately, Wachusett Earth Day and DCR began talking as a team about a permanent site solution. Each of the towns with limited municipal space, it was difficult to turn to one of the towns and ask them to put that burden on it permanently. And so Wachusett Earth, they came to DCR and said, would you consider a DCR site? And the land on Raymond Huntington Highway is DCR property.
Right.
So it's hosted on DCR's property, which of course made it much easier to plan around the same site.
Right.
The other thing that it allowed collections to become more than twice a year.
Right.
So often Colleen would get phone calls from someone, you know, who says, we're moving, and when is your collection? And she has to say, well, it was 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And those people then had no outlet other than to pay privately to dispose of items, which, you know, can be much more expensive to do.
Correct.
So having a center that's permanent and there regularly and allowing people to come at least once a week makes it much more accessible to residents.
Charlie, you're a Sterling resident. Tell us how you came to get involved in the Regional Recycling Center.
Well, I sit on the board of directors of Worcester Earn a Bike, which is a nonprofit bicycle organization that keeps bicycles, tries to keep bicycles out of compactors and crushers and get them back on the road. I started here in Sterling at the local recycling center, the DPW, and heard there about the regional, which was 7 towns, much bigger. I was getting 2 or 3 bicycles a week out of the local recycling, and when I went over to the regional, I was getting a dozen a week.
Great.
During the summer. I mean, and bicycles get thrown away on a seasonal. You get a lot more in the summer than you do in the winter. Bicycle recycling also is just not putting bicycles back on the road. People use bicycle parts to make jewelry. They make furniture. So there are many other reasons. Earn a Bike recycles or puts bicycles probably 90 to 100 a week during the summer, which means we need a large supply. We also get bicycles donated by local bike shops, even if far away as Acton, there's a bicycle shop over there. They can't resell used bikes because of legal reasons. But at any rate, we need as many bikes as we get, and the Regional Recycling Center is one of the largest resources we have.
Great.
If the bike's not reusable, we use it for parts.
So Colleen, when someone arrives at the site, what happens?
First, they check in and tell us everything that they brought for the day, and then they basically make a big circle around the site. So in the back area, what we call the North 40, they drop off first things like computers and other electronics, televisions, and there are great volunteers there like Charlie who help unload things, and then metals, small appliances, large appliances, things like hot water heaters and lawnmowers, basically any kind of metal item you could think of, those get dropped off. And then what we call construction and demolition, things from small home projects and furniture. We have large 30-yard dumpsters, and they have, again, helpers to unload all those things. So whether you've just redone your deck and you have pieces of wood, or you have an old couch, or Aunt Nellie's favorite household item that's now gone, not useful any longer,
Right.
those go there. Anything that might have reuse value, anything that might be reusable, gets directed from volunteers as to where to place that.
Okay.
Because we like to encourage as much reuse as possible. One gentleman took some old cribs, which couldn't be used any longer because the sides go up and down, but had beautiful wood, and he made new furniture and shelving, and so
Nice.
we'd love to see the reuse. And then on from there to the center circle, and basically that's another area to loop around, where all the regular recycling, things like the glass and bottles, basic recycling happens at that area, as well as what is called universal waste. That includes batteries, button batteries, NiCad or rechargeable batteries. That's
Okay.
nickel cadmium rechargeable. We also take alkaline batteries for recycling, and fluorescent tubes, and propane tanks, and tires. So those are all the center circle
All
items.
right.
And then the final stop for those who have items that they would like to swap or reuse is, right now, it's the reuse trailer, soon to be the new building. But that final stop is where they would donate items or pick up items, all free for reuse.
So I understand that you collect some items at no fee and others there is a fee for.
That's correct. Our goal is to make the center as affordable and easy to use as possible. And we have many items such as the bottles and cans, the batteries, including the alkaline batteries, a lot of general recycling, paper and cardboard and so forth is all no fee.
No fee, okay.
But then there are some items that cost money for disposal or some form of recycling, and those do have a fee, such as televisions, propane tanks, tires. And you can find a list of all those things on the website for Wachusett Earth Day being all one word, or on the town websites. And also, each resident should receive a brochure once a year with an update of everything that we collect.
Okay, good.
Prices.
So the other thing that is a fee is our hazardous products collection. And those don't happen on our regular Wednesday and third Saturday collections. They are our Saturday collection 4 times a year, and that schedule is posted on the website. Basically doesn't include wintertime. And we bring in a professional company that does all of the collecting of the materials. So a resident arrives, they drive up, they let people know what they have in their vehicle. So it could include paints, motor oil, other chemicals, pool chemicals, lawn chemicals. The company takes those chemicals, you pay your fee, and the company takes those chemicals right from your vehicle, and then those are properly disposed of or recycled. One thing about motor oil is a no fee, so long as it's not mixed with something else.
Okay.
We have a company that takes the used motor oil, and they actually use that in an oil burner. If you've mixed it with water or you've mixed antifreeze with it, they can't take it, and then we have to charge you for that. So if you are bringing used motor oil, you want to make sure you keep it separate from your other products, and then that can be reused appropriately.
Great. So tell us more about the new recycle building.
So as Colleen said earlier, the site is a partnership between Wachusett Earth Day Incorporated, the Department of Conservation and Recreation, in the 7 towns. And the site originally opened in late 2009, and the construction of the original site was both fundraising done by Wachusett Earth Day, funds provided by each of the 7 towns, as well as some grants provided by DCR. And the site basically opened as a big, wide open area. We did have a small office trailer that was sort of our reuse center and office. And we knew we needed to plan for a phase 2 to build a building. Well, that was during a difficult economy. And
Right.
so the towns, Wachusett Earth Day and DCR understood that the towns didn't have the ability to participate a second time so quickly. And Colleen especially worked real hard at fundraising, as well as DCR provided some additional grants. And in the winter of 2013, the building was completed. It's a 6,000 square foot building, and that houses our reuse and swap center, as well as office space for running the center. So folks can come in, and that's where they would drop off a usable item, be it a household item or furniture, craft supplies. There are an awful lot of folks who come in for Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. Teachers come in for school projects to get paper and fabric that we get donated and other stuff like that, as well as household items. So you can drop off and you can come in and shop as well and pick up something that's usable. It's a very useful space, and it gives us that ability we never had before to be able to keep people's usable items and get them reused.
So tell us about some of your special services.
Okay. The special services that we provide are to some degree driven by the Department of Environmental Protection in Massachusetts, which will produce some new waistbands or advisories trying to encourage better handling of certain products. The items that we're dealing with, which are kind of additional or special services now, are document shredding. So those who want document shredding, we offer it 3 times a year, and it's a free service. It's on the Saturday mornings in March, May, and October.
Okay.
And then there are other items, sharps, which are medical waste items, and pharmaceuticals, which are newer waste advisories or waistbands. And the Town of Holden Police Department offers 24/7 collection of pharmaceuticals in a secure container, as well as the sharps. And they ask that when people bring large quantities of them, of sharps, that they bring them in something like a coffee can with a secure lid, and they have a secure container there on the wall. And in addition, the town of Sterling participates in the National Drug Take-Back Days. I believe there are 2 of them each year.
Right.
And some of the other towns do as well. So that's also a good place to be checking the town website or the Wachusett Earth Day
Right.
website for updates in those kinds of collections.
So Charlie, what's it like working at the center? What type of work do you do there?
Let me start off by saying volunteering at the center is fun because of the people that are there, the people that work there every session. In the winter, it's cold. In the summer, it's hot. And when it rains, it's wet. But that's the nature of the business. I usually end up at what we call the North 40 because I get to direct people to where they're going. It's also easier for me to pick up bicycles there. Bicycles are cumbersome when they're in a trailer or in somebody's trunk. It's easy to get them out there and put them where I'm going to take them from, than have somebody wander around through the area. It's entertaining. You've got regulars that come in and talk and have fun. The 2 hours on Wednesdays go very quickly. And along with all of the wet and cold and fun and everything else, we're providing a service to the area.
Right.
Disposing of things that people would throw in the woods or somewhere else if they didn't have us to come to.
So Colleen, how can people get involved with the Regional Recycling Center?
Well, probably the first and foremost involvement is coming and using the center, and we just encourage people to do that, to let us know when they're happy with the service there, and let us know if there are any concerns or items they'd like us to start collecting.
Sure.
We also welcome and very much need volunteers. We have fantastic volunteers, some who have been involved all the way since 1992, and some who've just come in the last several weeks and said, I think I could help.
Great.
And we'll accept volunteers for any number of hours and any kind of involvement. Not everything is out there working in the center. There are also some behind-the-scenes things, grants, fundraising, office items, record keeping. So we welcome all kinds of help. And also, in terms of involvement, I have to mention again our partners. We have fabulous partners, ranging from the 7 towns who've contributed and participated all these many years, as well as the Department of Environmental Protection, which helped out with early grants to get the center started. The Department of Conservation and Recreation is like right there year-round, and they've continued to provide the basic service of lawn mowing, or mowing the site, and snow plowing, which helps tremendously, because
Right.
then the volunteers can come in and do their part. So we're just very, very grateful. The donations are always welcome. The building, the big final push to complete the funds for the building, and other than that, donations of any size, a $5 donation, whatever it is, helps us to keep the place operating.
So you've given us a lot of great information about Wachusett Earth Day. Tell us how viewers can learn more.
Well, first of all, we hope that they'll come and use the center. They're always welcome when we're open, and we just hope that they'll use it. And secondly, we really encourage and welcome new volunteers. Feel free to give me a call at 508-479-2123 to learn more, or stop in at the center during open hours. You can also learn more on our website, which is www.Wachusett, all one word, .org.
Great. And the location?
131 Raymond Huntington Highway,
In West Boylston.
in West
right?
Boylston, correct. Or also pull the brochure up on the website.
Great. And what hours are you open?
Currently, the site is open on Wednesdays from 2:30 to 4:30, and the third Saturday of the month from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. We also have our 4 hazardous products collections that occur on Saturdays, and those are listed on our website. And you also should keep tabs on our website, because we are hoping to add more open hours, and those will all get reflected on the website.
Well, I really want to thank our guests today from Wachusett Earth Day, Colleen Abrams, our co-founder, John Scandal from DCR, and Charlie Madden, a volunteer and resident of Sterling. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much
very
for
much.
having us.
And thanks to the crew at SLCT and the viewers who are watching. I'm Terry Ackerman, your host of Faces of Sterling. I'm the town administrator here. We'll see you next time.